Welcome back to Learn MoGraph. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to take a two-dimensional image like this and transform it into a 3D landscape like this. Let's dive right into After Effects and take a closer look. We're going to start this tutorial outside of After Effects at a website here called ZoeDepth, which I'll link down in the description. And what this does is allows you to take two-dimensional images and upload them to this platform, and it extracts depth data from it that we can later use inside of After Effects. So now that we're on the website, we're going to go to Image to 3D, and I'm just going to drag one of my images that I have and drop it right in there. We're going to check this box for Keep Occlusion Edges, and we're just going to click Submit, and it's going to process over on the right-hand side here. Now that it's done processing, you see that it gives us a little bit of a preview here of what our depth map looks like. And we can zoom in and we can kind of mouse around here. So we can see that the mountains in the background are much higher than the mountains in the foreground. And then we have our extreme foreground here, which is some rocks and some trees, which I think we'll be able to create some nice parallax effect going on in After Effects with. We're going to click this little download button here and jump right into After Effects. Now that we're in After Effects, we're going to create a new composition. I'll just call this 2D to 3D tutorial. Press OK. And we're going to go up to our project panel and we're going to press Command I on our keyboard. We're going to navigate to our downloads folder and we're going to import a GLB file. It's going to be some long string of text and it's going to end in .glb. And just press open. And that imports a GLB file which we can drag right into our new composition. When we drag it into our composition, we're going to get some options here. I'm just going to rename this Mountains. We're going to click on our Basic tab here. We're going to check Make Comp Size. We're going to click Advanced, and we're going to make sure to flip the Z axis. Right now, we're looking at this from behind, so we want to look at it from the front. And we're going to press OK. All right, now we have our 3D in After Effects. We can kind of move that around here so you can see what we're working with. The next step is we're going to add a 3D camera. I'm going to use Command-Option-Shift-C on my keyboard, and we're just going to call this Camera A. And I think I want the focal length to be something like 135. And now we can use our camera tools up here, which is our Orbit, our Pan, and our Dolly tool, or we can press C on our keyboard to cycle through them. I'm going to start with our Dolly tool so we can zoom in closer. And if you press and hold Shift while you can zoom in faster increments. I'm going to zoom right about there. I'm going to shift back over to our Pan tool. We're going to pan up a little bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more because we're still getting some of the edges there that are cut off. And something I noticed is that our image came in flipped. This mountain over here should be over on the other side. So I'm going to click our mountain layer, press S on my keyboard, turn off linking, and just change this to -100. All right, that looks a little bit better to me. All right, and now I can press P on my keyboard, add a position keyframe for my camera. And I'm also going to press Command or Control F and search for point of interest because this is a 2-node camera. And the position and where the camera looks is dictated by the position and the point of interest attributes. Close out of that, press U on our keyboard to bring up both keyframes. We can go forward to maybe about 5 seconds in our timeline. And again, we can use our camera tools to kind of mouse around here. And you'll notice that there's a little bit of stretching on some of these images here because it's taking the texture and extruding it in Z space. So the goal is going to be to make sure that we get as little of that as possible. I think that works pretty well. Right about there. Cool. Now we have this nice parallaxing view right from a 2D image. And the cool thing about this is we can go up to Layer, New, and select Light. And if we change this to make sure it's an environment light and that it casts shadows, we're going to press OK. This is going to act like a dome light for our entire 2D image, similar to what you'd have in Blender or Cinema 4D. And we can control the amount of light by controlling the X and Y rotation in here. So we can make it a little bit darker. We can brighten it up. And you can see if you look in some of these areas here, that as we're moving this around, it's creating shadows. So it's almost acting like a sunlight that you would have in a 3D application. Another option we can do is we can import an HDRI image and use that to light our scene. So I'm going to press Command I on my keyboard. I'm going to navigate to where I have the HDRI image saved. And if I drag this down into my timeline, I can put it behind the mountains so we don't really see it. In our light options, we can change the source from default to the new HDRI image that we put in there. And again, we can mess with these rotation values to get more or less light, but it's going to take the light values from our HDRI image and apply them to our environment light. We can also go up to Layer, New Light, and we can create a point light. And this one, we can make something like maybe a bright red looks good. Press OK. Press P on our keyboard, and if we zero out the Z depth, it's going to bring it closer to where we can actually work with it. If you're working in a 3D space, you can keep locked on your camera view, but if you want to work with 3D elements that are outside of the canvas, like if we zoom out, we'll see that our light is way up here, and we can control it this way, but that's not always the easiest to do because you're clicking on things that you don't want. We can change this one view to two views, and now we have a left, or I like to work in a top view of our scene. So here's our top view. And now we can see, even though in our main camera view over here, if we press Command / it frames that up for us. It looks like our light is way out here in the distance, but it's actually way in front of our entire scene to begin with. So we can select our point light, bring this back, and now we can see that the light is starting to affect our 3D scene here. And if we crank up the intensity by double clicking on it, put something like 250, we get a more exaggerated look for it. We can bring this along there. And it's just a cool way to be able to dynamically add light and different shadows and everything to a 2D image using the ZoeDepth deep learning model for metric depth estimation. And I'll leave a link to all of this down in the description. Thanks for watching all the way through. If you liked this video, feel free to like and subscribe down below for more like it. And if you want to download a bunch of free digital assets, head on over to learnmograph.com, and I'll see you in the next one.